Good morning, everyone. I am welcoming you to today's session. And before we start, I want to ask you a simple question. And I need you to answer this question within yourself. So, how many of you watching me right now would like to work in the oil and gas industry or in the manufacturing industry? And if your answer is yes, let me start by being very honest with you. So, most people who say they want to work in oil and gas manufacturing or in any of the industrial automation industries are not actually preparing for it. Many of them are busy chasing or collecting certificates, learning software names, and watching random tutorials online. But they are not learning those things that really matter on site. That's what this video is about. And that's why I'm glad you're here and you're watching me right now. Because today is not a tutorial. I'm not here to teach you ladder logic or show you screenshots of software. This is like a career reality check. It's about helping you see what the industry truly expects from you, especially as we move into 2026. And the reason 2026 is important is simple. Competition is increasing every year. Every year, more graduates are coming out, more technicians are learning automation, more people are putting PLC programmer on their CVs. So just knowing software is no longer enough. And I hope you can agree with me on that. What separates people now is trust. Okay? So when you sit in front of an interviewer, they're not just asking questions to test your memory. They're trying to answer one question in their mind. Can we trust this person on site? And that's where many people fail. They fail because they learned automation in PCs instead of as a system. So they know PLC programming, but they don't understand instruments, HMI design, but they don't understand the process. So they know theory, but they never thought about the responsibility. Okay? So on site, everything is actually connected. A wrong level signal can trip a pump, a bad alarm can cause panic, and a small wiring mistake can shut down production. So automation is not just coding, automation is responsibility. And once you understand that, your mindset changes. So now, when people talk about PLC programming, they often focus on ladder logic. They talk about contacts, they talk about coils and timers, but interviewers don't really care about that, let's be honest. If you think deep, they don't really care about that. What they care about is whether you understand the control philosophy. They want to hear you talk about things like interlocks, like the permissives, like the fail logic, like trips. They want to know what happens when something goes wrong, because on site, things will definitely go wrong. And now this is where I'm going to bring in analog signals. So let me say this clearly. Now, most site problems do not come from PLC code. They come from the 4 to 20 milliamp signals, all right? The scaling issues, the signal losses, the noise, the grounding problems. And if you don't understand analog signals, you will struggle on site, no matter how good your logic looks on a laptop. Now think about this. Once you have PLC logic running, how does an operator interact with it? That's where the HMI and SCADA come in. And HMI stands for Human Machine Interface. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. All right, so HMI design is not about making screens look fine. It's about understanding human behavior under pressure. That's the simplest way I can put it right now. So imagine when something trips at 2 a.m., how does the operator know what to do? Which alarm matters? Which one can wait? That's what differentiates a good HMI design from a bad one. So good HMI guides operators, and bad HMIs confuse them. And confusion on site leads to mistakes. This is why alarm management trends and standards like the ISA 101 are so important. They are not theory, they are like safety tools, okay? And this is what you can't get in your theory. And this is what most people miss, all right? So even the best HMI is useless if the information coming into the system is wrong. And that brings us into instrumentation. Now, instruments are the senses of the plant. We have pressure, level, flow, temperature. These are process variables, and instruments help us to measure them. These are how the plant speaks to you. So if you don't understand instruments, you're making control decisions blindly, which isn't good. So you must be able to identify instruments on a P&ID. A P&ID simply stands for Process and Instrumentation Diagram. So you must understand control valves, actuator types. You must know what a valve does when A fails. You must understand loop checks, basic calibration, and HART communication. Now, the HART I'm talking about is the HART. the highway addressable remote transducer. Okay, now these are not advanced skills, they are foundational site expectations, and these are the things your soon to be employer they'll be watching out for. Interviewers will be watching out for these things. So now here's something many people don't like to hear. Most automation problems are not software problems, all right? They are mostly electrical and hardware problems. Now you may feel a bit confused, but imagine having a loose terminal or a poor wiring or a bad grounding or power issues or communication faults. Now that has nothing to do with your PLC program, all right? So if you cannot read wiring diagrams or understand control panels or motor control centers and maybe variable frequency drives, you will struggle on site. And when a fault happens, nobody wants to guess. Nobody wants to hear guesses. They want someone who can trace the problem logically and safely. And is that person you? All right. So, but even with good electrical skills, there's still one advantage that separates average automation engineers from very good ones, which leads us to the process and mechanical understanding. So you may understand how to or know how to write a PLC program. You can write in function block or sequential function charts or in using ladder logic. But then if you don't understand the process, it's also going to pose an issue to you. Okay? So automation exists to serve the purpose or the process rather, not the other way around. So when you understand equipment like the pumps, like the compressors, like valves, heat exchangers, and if you also understand the basic process flow, your control logic becomes even smarter. So you start thinking ahead, you start designing with safety in mind. And this is why engineers who understand the process always stand out during interviews. Is that person you? Okay, so let's move on. And when you prepare like this, okay, so when you prepare like this, when you connect PLCs, HMI instruments, electrical systems, and process understanding, your interview changes. So you stop giving textbook answers, you stop giving theoretical answers, you stop sounding unsure, and you start explaining scenarios clearly, because interviewers only bring up scenarios just to test if you are ready, if we can trust you, if they can trust you. And when interviewers ask these questions and you answer them, you answer them like a professional, they can hear the confidence in your voice. All right. Now, going back, you don't need to sound like a professional, but once you understand the process, once you understand these things are connected, the PLC program connects to the HMI, it connects to the instrument, it connects to every other thing, you will be able to build that confidence in your voice. And that's when interviews move from "we'll get back to you" to "when can you start?" And I know everyone loves to hear "when can you start?" Okay, so let me leave you with this. 2026 can be another year of watching opportunities pass you by, or it can be the year you become truly site ready. Now, the difference is not luck, the difference is preparation. All right, you need to be prepared, and that is why this free workshop is meant to show you what really matters, what you might be missing, and where to focus your energy. And I've put all of this into a clear career preparation checklist that we use in the full training to turn knowledge into real-world skill. So if you take this seriously, you can change your career direction faster than you think. So I want you to make 2026 count. All right. So thank you so much for your time. And if you're ready to go deeper, I'll show you how. All right. So click the link on the description to register for the free workshop starting in January. Thank you so much for watching.